Welcome to the Love and Meaning Podcast, where inner work is a lifestyle. Welcome to the Love and Meaning Podcast. I am your host, Christelle Robinson-Tiedemann, aka Cree, and I am so excited to be back. It has been a minute, and this feels really, really good to be back into the recording studio. I have so many big dreams for season 2. And we've been on a little hiatus in between season 1 and season 2 because I've been creating some super cool stuff in the Coaching with the Cree world. And that brings me to what I want to talk about today, which is inner work as a lifestyle, which is the mission of my brand, which is my mission. And when I talk about inner work as a lifestyle, it's about how we learn, not what we learn. And I believe it's my mission to teach women how to make their inner work change their lives. So if you're here, you're spiritual, you are probably a bit of an inner work junkie, you are into personal development, you're into personal growth, like this is your jam. And this is a billion-dollar industry. Okay, so there is tons of money floating around. There is so much out there in this industry, and we can just be continuing to learn and learn and learn and listen and engage in all kinds of things. And it doesn't mean though that it has to touch the way that your life is experienced at all. And that's wild. And one thing that is consistent with me is that I am continuously upgrading myself with what I'm learning. For me, it's fun. Like, I'm obsessed with this shit. Like, it's just something I've really enjoyed. But apparently, along the way, I've really helped people. And as a projector, for those that are new here, one of my big passions is human design. And in the human design system, there are different types of humans. So all of us fit into a category of 5 different types. And the type of person that I am is called a projector. And as a projector, I'm really placed here on the planet as a guide. And one of the fail-safe things that were implemented in me being a guide is that we're actually not all that great at seeing ourselves. And that was kind of put there so that we don't become these horrible tyrants. So we actually need each other, the guide and the one being guided. It's really very much a two-way street. And that reflection and that recognition is super important to projectors like me. And one of the things, though, about not necessarily being able to see myself is that I have been doing this for a very long time, and I didn't realize that I was doing it. I've been influencing people in a positive way. I have been really helping other people alongside helping myself in the inner work that I'm doing and in the personal development and personal growth that I've been doing. And my mom, something that my mom said to me recently really sparked a lot of reflection. And what she said was, you have been so many different versions of yourself. You've changed so many times. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because every time you change and elevate yourself, you take us all with you. So I was freaking floored and made into a puddle of tears because I always really thought that that was a very annoying trait of mine that my friends and family and people that love me just have to put up with. And I shared that with her, and she said, "Are you kidding me? who could have thought that I could ever be this lucky? And that right there, I realize, is my calling. I even remember a time when my best friend was reflecting to me about when I quit smoking. I used to be a smoker. I smoked for a decade, guys. I smoked for a decade. Oh my gosh, I used to be so unhealthy. But when I quit cold turkey, like just like that. I don't know, something came over me. It was definitely an experience with spirit. When I look back, I realize that because it came out of nowhere. Like I actually went to light a cigarette and something inside of me like recoiled. It felt literally like a part of me inside of me recoiled. And I was like, ew. And I never smoked again. I literally just put it back into the pack and gave up the whole pack to a friend of mine that was with me. And I never smoked again. And it's been over a decade now. And my best friend said that what I said to her was that this doesn't fit who I am now. I'm working out, I'm eating healthy. How am I smoking? And I didn't even realize the significance of that at the time, but I see the trend now. I see this thread now with myself and the way that I learn and the way that I implement. And I really let things change me for the better when they do come my way. At that time, I'd really gotten into working out because of a bet, okay? A friend of mine made a bet with me who could get a six pack faster, and I'm very competitive. I I like to win. So I was like, let's do this. Definitely like no working out history at that time, okay? And so I ended up really liking it. So I got really into working out, and then because I was really into working out, I got into eating healthy because it really supported the working out. And then like it just kind of flowed from there. And then eventually I guess I was like, this the smoking doesn't fit either. But I mean, I could have easily just said, okay, well, I have a great body. What does it matter what unhealthy habits I still have? As long as I still look good, you know? Many women do that. And in fact, only as my bestie told me this, like her feeling about what I said back when I quit smoking, like I didn't put any significance on what I had said. So it was only in my recent reflection on what she told me that I realized, like she's also super into working out and eating healthy, but she's still smoking cigarettes. It was just we just both had very different views and approaches on that. And what I realized is I just really let things change who I am. When I integrated, it changes who I am, not just what I'm doing. And that's my identity. My identity, and therefore my lifestyle gets an upgrade along with my knowledge. And that has served me so greatly. And this is not because I have a magic wand at choosing all the best courses or, choosing the best mentors to learn from, though I do have the best mentors. I have to say. But I realize that there are a couple of things that my life has taught me over time, and I've been willing to heed these lessons. I've been willing to listen. So I want to tell you what these lessons are, these overarching lessons that my life experience has taught me. One, failing does not make me a failure. And on that vein, two, the true compassion that most inner work is referring to is actually forgiveness, and especially forgiveness of the self. For me, if I hadn't learned forgiveness of the self, I probably wouldn't have forgiven anybody. I hadn't really learned forgiveness, I think, until I forgave myself, truly. Three, no teacher, no course, no nothing is more influential to me than my own intuition. And four, nothing I learn matters unless I bring it to my heart center, to my present life. It has to influence the life that I'm living right now. It needs to change me. What I've observed is that a lot of people are trying to get to a certain place before they believe they're allowed to change or allowed to move towards their desires. Like, when I'm out of debt, I'll work on my wealth. When I lose the weight, I'll start dating. When I'm not scared anymore, I'll start the business. Whoo, that was me. Like me. Like I was there. I've been through this. I'm speaking about all of this from my own personal experience, and I've been through it all, guys. I've done some things, in my past. It very common for us. It's a pattern of when I'm blank, I'll blank. And then we just stay there. We never blank, you know? We just stay there because the time is now. At some point along the way, I realized that what is the point of learning all of this stuff to rack up knowledge to implement later? If I'm drawn to it now, then there is an application to my life now. Or why bother with it? If I'm not bringing it home to my heart, don't bother. Because then I'm pretending to do inner work. We're pretending, we're performing. And that is a huge part of this industry. There is a lot of that going on. And if we're pretending to do inner work, we're not actually growing. And this is why inner work as a lifestyle is my mission. This is my jam because a lifestyle is a lifestyle. It's the way that you live. It's a part of you. It's not something that you necessarily schedule in. It's just who you're being, the way that you're being, the way that you are. And therefore, change will be inevitable. Implementation is inevitable because it's just who you are and it's what you do. There are three major aspects of inner work as a lifestyle that we have to make synonymous with the idea of embodiment. This is my belief. This is a 100% Cree belief system. You're welcome to adopt it. It's been very helpful for me, but I think that there is something missing from the way that we look at embodiment in general in the coaching world. And these three aspects, I think, really need to be synonymous with embodiment for it to work. And the first one is that we need to connect with the guidance of our spirit. So if you go back to what I said about nothing is more influential to me than my intuition. So much of the mistakes that I made in my past, and this is not coming from a judgmental place, this is coming from self-reflection, observation, and therefore the ability to implement change. When I look back, I was so disconnected from myself and I was using external sources as my guidance, but they were not necessarily good for me. And I didn't even know how to determine what was good for me because there was no inner system dictating yes or no. There wasn't an internal standard. And that comes from our intuition. And women are very intuitive beings. Society has told us that our intuition makes us crazy, that it makes so many things. It's associated with the witch hunt. Like, our intuition has been given a bad rep, and therefore we've cut ourselves off from it. But connecting to the guidance of spirit, getting quiet, pausing, detaching, listening to the voice and feeling the frequency of the universe, this is absolutely necessary for embodiment, for any proper inner work practice. We need to sync our thoughts with God's thoughts. And when I'm referring to God, I mean the force of creation, the thing that is, where all of this comes from. We're part of a system. We are part of this ecosystem. We are part of this universe. We are not separate from it. And we constantly think that nature and the animal world is like operating in a different system. But obviously it's not. We're all part of this planet. We're all part of this, in this soup together, this frequency together. And when we sync up with that, there's so much wisdom provided inside of us. There's so much guidance provided inside of us. So whatever you want to call it, whatever word you want to use for the universe, for source, for God, that's fine. But basically, we have to learn to shut the F up enough to hear that authority that we were given, that guidance system, that intuitive guidance that was implanted within us. If we're not doing that, there's going to be a gap in our implementation, okay? There's going to be a gap in feeling like we are the reason our lives change. Number two, get familiar with our roots. This means diving into the past, diving into our emotions, embracing our shadow, our triggers. This is opening the emotional body. Let our emotions teach us what they can only teach us. And when I say they can only teach us, I mean individually, you. Think about that. Think about our emotions. It is an extremely personal experience. Your emotional experience is different than my emotional experience. So we can all be in the same class. We can all learn the same thing. We can all read the same book. But the way that that's going to be filtered through your system is entirely unique. So if you aren't diving into that thing that is the most unique thing about you, the implementation that you're going to make is going to be a mimicking of something. It's going to be following along what someone else is doing, and eventually you're going to hit a snag. You're not actually doing the self-discovery, and at the basis of all of this is self-discovery. So this one is an only us one. This is an individual aspect of this embodiment process. No matter what you learn, source is the same source. So in step one, the connecting with the guiding force, the getting quiet to listen to the frequency of the universe. That's the same for all of us. We're listening to the same thing. The interpretation is unique, but we're listening to the same thing. Our emotions, our past experiences, our roots, what we've been through, no matter what we're learning, that filter is ours alone, and we have to get down and dirty with it. The only way is through. So really building a relationship and a practice of emotional processing and learning our emotional system, learning our triggers. It's such an important aspect. We can't leave that out. So if anything that you're learning in your inner work isn't hitting you on that level, you're not allowing yourself to go there, the implementation is also going to be just as shallow. And then the third is bringing it all back to heart center. So we have to bring this back to the present. This is not, how is this going to help me later? It's, what does this have to teach me now? We're integrating everything that we learn through the voice of source, through our intuition, and through our experience with our own emotions, with our own inner child. We have to integrate that into our current lived experience. This is how we actually elevate and evolve. So I don't believe that I'm here to necessarily teach all the parts. It's not my calling, or at least I don't think it is right now, but you never know, to be the go-to coach for like money mindset, or specifically for dating, or specifically for emotional intelligence, or getting, nitty-gritty in any one aspect. I'm not aiming to corner the market for any one particular area of inner work. But I want to teach people, I want to encourage women on how to learn in a way that actually changes their life. And we're not learning because we're broken and we need fixing. We're not learning as a badge of honor to say that we did it so that everyone can think we're really deep. We're not learning and constantly being a work in progress as a stalling tactic to never implement anything. We're learning to change our life for the better because we can and we've got it like that. And because we're worth it like that. And because we get to. We are evolving fairy goddess, badass unicorn mama, sex kitten magnetic machines. And it's really time that we start acting like this. I am obsessed with the fact that the coaching world is a multi-billion dollar system because we are finally recognizing what is the most important thing in this world. But because we're human, we can easily corrupt anything. You know what I mean? I want to be the corner of the market where we really focus on being squeaky clean with that and about bringing this all back to the love and the meaning. How do we make sure that this is meaningful to us, what we're doing, what we're learning in our spiritual work, in our inner work, in our personal development? And oddly enough, when I started approaching my inner work in this way, my evolution freaking skyrocketed. My manifestations blew up. My confidence grew. And I even spent less money on inner work as well. So when I said that, it's not just because I picked great teachers and great courses, but one of my greatest lessons that I've learned is by investing an enormous amount of money in something that I would say in hindsight was most definitely not necessarily worth it for me. The value didn't seem like that for me. But you know what? In a way it was because the lesson that I learned from that, because of this process of reflection, because of my ability to go in there and feel my emotions, not just and go through them and process and see what they have to teach me, not just be upset at this coach or this teacher and be a part of the internet shit talking and just, trolling people and blaming other people for our experiences and just being mad about it. What I learned was I got there and I made that investment because I went into it for the wrong reasons. That was on me. That was on me. So I actually have started to spend less money on inner work. And it's not because I'm investing on cheap things, but it's because I have become far more intentional about what I'm investing in. Because it's not the course that changes me or the mentor that changes me. I did. I am. And that could be from a book. It could be from a free masterclass. It could be from a 10K one-on-one coaching package, or it can be from a $44 monthly membership. But I let my intuition guide me and I truly integrate what I learn. I'm intentional and I'm purposeful about it. I'm the reason that my life changes. And other things get to be the thing that helped, you know? They get to be the guide that I chose along that way. As women, we are often always looking outside of ourselves for the answer to our lives. And the thing is that even when we get those answers, they barely ever change our lives until we realize that that's a power that we have. We have the power to change our whole lives, like the whole thing altogether. And it could be from one little thing, but when we bring everything back to the meaning and being present in our heart center and making it really count, we have the power to change our whole lives. And what my mom actually said when she gave me the world's greatest compliment was unity of life. She said, "You gave me unity of life." And I thought that was so beautiful. And what she meant was she started to see everything as a whole. She started to take in information in a new way and then let her intuition guide her to where, like, what aspect of her life could that influence? And then let herself get messy and practice and change things. And the next thing she knew, her entire life felt better because it didn't matter that she was the greatest teacher on the planet. And my God, she was. Like my mother, oh my gosh, my mother was a teacher, a kindergarten teacher, for years. And she's retired now, but I mean, the greatest. But it didn't matter that she was the greatest teacher on the planet if she was deeply unhappy. It's not just about the thing that we were commended for by our elders. It's not just our special skill set or our accolades. And I was so guilty of this. Like, it's just constantly looking for validation for something that I'm good at. But we actually have the power to change our whole lives however we want to and evolve it into something that the world has never freaking seen before. And I think that that is our duty. We are paving the way for the most incredible future generation of womankind. I'm happily taking that on. And everything can be brought back to the way that we love and the meaning that we bring to every area of our life. And it's that important. So let me tell you what I've been up to in between seasons. I have created a membership. It is called the Collective Perspective. And I could not be more proud of what I have created. So the Collective Perspective is a monthly membership inner work group. It's hosted on the app Telegram. And in this group, the members, the women in this group, are walking the talk. I talked about inner work as a lifestyle today. We are walking the talk of inner work as a lifestyle. We are creating the space for this to become a lifestyle. And how it works is every month we focus on a different gene key. So we use the book, The Gene Keys, which is a beautiful system developed by Richard Rudd, in which he's identified 64 archetypes. And these archetypes exist in every single human. And it ties really nicely with human design, which is what I believe to be the greatest tool for self-discovery. And these archetypes, these 64 archetypes, have three levels to them: the shadow, the gift, and the city, which is another way of saying highest expression. And so we choose a different gene key that we focus on for the month, and then we walk through the month with that gene key as the filter for ourselves. It gives us a lens to reflect on our lives. The main work of this group is that every month we are reflecting on our lives, our past, our present, our patterns, our relationships, whether that's with people or with things. We are reflecting on ourselves. We are observing ourselves through this specific filter and extracting the lessons that our life has provided for us. The things that I talked about in today's episode are the things that we really bring to light and that we really integrate into our lives in this group. This process promotes self-forgiveness because we don't look at our lives and nitpick at ourselves. We look at our lives with so much love and then neutrality. And then we hold ourselves and we hold our emotions and we have a safe space for our emotions where we're able to share and express with other people who are in full capacity to be able to witness us. And we allow ourselves to observe our life experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. Hold ourselves in love and forgiveness as we do that and extract exactly what we were meant to learn from those experiences. And therefore, no part of our life is a mistake. Everything is an orchestration for our greatness if we allow it to be. And that's what we do here. The three aspects of embodiment that I talk about: detaching into spirit, diving deep into our shadow and into our emotions, and then bringing everything back to heart center is the dance that we perform. So I provide different resources for helping us to detach, whether that's in meditation. We are really focused on something called contemplation, which is the way that we really read through the gene keys. It's a really soft approach. It's not cerebral. It's really allowing for our body wisdom to come to the forefront. And then this brings us all back to that beautiful, beautiful part of us that I talked about, which is intuition. We allow our intuition to really guide us because the gene keys can be interpreted in so many different ways. So there are different women in the group, and we're all reading the same gene key, and everybody has learned something different. Everybody has had something different come up for them. Everybody has a different perspective. And this is where the name the collective perspective came from. There is nothing more powerful than us as a collective learning from each other and learning from ourselves. In this group, we see our strengths come to light and we see our shadows. And we see the strengths in others, we see the shadows in others, and we start to see every single person as such a capable and powerful human being. It makes it so much easier to step into your own power. It makes it so much easier to start respecting the other people around you. It makes it so much easier to forgive ourselves and forgive other people. This is inner work as a lifestyle. On top of our contemplations on the gene keys, I drop in different teachings and tidbits about human design, about any area of inner work that I think could be really supportive for whatever is coming up for the group during that month. We have a group chat that is so loving and beautiful and supportive. You will find accountability. You will find friendship. You will find sisterhood. It is an absolutely beautiful space. It's really incredible. And again, I'm so, so proud of it. So I present to you, I present to the world the Collective Perspective group membership. If you are interested in joining the group membership, the details are in the show notes. I would love to have you there. The more of us in there, the more that we walk with inner work as a lifestyle, the more that we see each other and ourselves as the shining lights that we are, the more that we're able to change, and the more that we are able to see the love and to create meaning in our lives. I'm so happy to be back. Season 2 is about to be absolutely fantastic. I have some amazing guests coming up for you guys, and I love you. I will see you in the next one.